Hey, SnapFlash fam! Today is World Press Freedom Day 2025, and while we're celebrating journalism, we're also facing some hard truths. Around the world, and right here in Africa, the fight for free press is more urgent than ever. Let's talk about why. Did you know that more than half the world lives in countries where press freedom is under attack? And in some places, journalists are being jailed or killed for telling the truth? With AI on the rise and authoritarianism tightening its grip, we're at a crossroads. Let's dive in.
2024 was the deadliest year for the Fourth Estate, with journalists and media workers killed in conflicts from Gaza to Ukraine. Given the dangerous environments they cover, not to mention attacks on the media from Vladimir Putin to Donald Trump.
Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and stay informed with SnapFlash, your voice for freedom, truth, and Africa's next chapter. This year's global theme is artificial intelligence and press freedom. It sounds futuristic, but it's happening now. AI can help journalists dig deeper and work faster, but if misused, it can also spread fake news at lightning speed, silence voices, and erode public trust. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says press freedom is the backbone of justice and democracy, but even he's sounding the alarm. Algorithms are replacing ethics, and misinformation is becoming a weapon.
In a world plagued by conflict and division, World Press Freedom Day highlights a fundamental truth. Freedom for people depends on freedom of the press. Free and independent journalism is an essential public good. It's the backbone of accountability, justice, equality, and human rights. Journalists everywhere must be able to report freely and without fear or favor. When journalists are unable to work, we all lose. Tragically, this is becoming more difficult every year. And more dangerous. Journalists face attacks, detention, censorship, intimidation, violence, and even death, simply for doing their jobs. We are seeing a sharp rise in the number of journalists killed in conflict areas, particularly in Gaza. And now, as this year's theme reminds us, press freedom faces an unprecedented threat. Artificial intelligence can support freedom of expression or stifle it. Biased algorithms, outright lies, and hate speech are landmines on the information superhighway. Accurate, verifiable, fact-based information is the best tool to defuse them. The Global Digital Compact adopted last year includes concrete steps to strengthen international cooperation to promote information integrity, tolerance, and respect in the digital space. AI must be shaped in a way that is consistent with human rights and puts facts first. And the global principles for information integrity I launched last year are supporting and informing this work as we push for a more humane information ecosystem. On this World Press Freedom Day, let's commit to make this a reality and safeguard press freedom and the press everywhere.
UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk and Melanie Lepoultier of the Congress of Local and Regional Authorities agree AI has the potential to liberate journalists by streamlining reporting and uncovering deeper stories, but only if deployed ethically.
A free and independent media is the lifeblood of a resilient society. Amidst spiraling conflict, climate chaos, growing divisions, and a rapidly changing digital landscape, a free press is more vital than ever. The media help us understand the world around us and encourage critical thinking and dialogue. Photographers and videographers reveal the grim truth of war and how the climate emergency is already destroying lives. Investigative journalists tell the story behind events, big and small, revealing abuse of power, corruption, and other crimes. Free and independent media are the best antidote to disinformation. Governments and leaders have a duty to protect them, but they are failing to do so. Press freedom is under threat in every region of the world. States harass, detain, torture, and even kill media workers simply for doing their jobs. In some conflict zones, warring parties restrict or deny access to journalists. At least 20 media workers have been killed so far this year, and impunity for crimes against journalists remains widespread. More than 8 out of every 10 killings of journalists go unpunished. This year, World Press Freedom Day reminds us that restrictions on the media are increasing as artificial intelligence is entirely overhauling how information is produced, distributed, and consumed. AI can be a useful tool for journalists, but it also carries significant risks for press freedom. AI-based algorithms often dictate what we see, shaping our opinions and perceptions of reality. Politicians use AI to weaponize disinformation and advance their own agendas. States are using AI tools to monitor journalists and their sources online, violating their right to privacy. This has a chilling effect on media workers everywhere. And women journalists are disproportionately targeted. Adding to concerns, a small group of corporations and individuals have almost total control over AI technology and influence on the global media landscape. With the flick of a switch, they can blast out their own views and silence dissent. World Press Freedom Day is an opportunity for all of us to commit urgently to changing course. This begins with states. They must ensure that journalists are safe from attacks, hate campaigns, surveillance, and physical and legal harassment. In regulating AI, governments must assess its impact on human rights. It is crucial to have more transparency in how data is used, how content is curated, and how algorithms are designed. Media concentration laws must be updated to reflect the power of AI and tech platforms and promote a diverse media landscape that secures space for independent journalism. Tech companies also have a crucial role. Today, we are launching, together with UNESCO, guidance to help tech companies assess the risks their tools pose to journalists and critical voices. A free, independent, and diverse media can help to heal the divisions in our societies. We must do everything in our power to protect it and allow it to flourish.
In local and regional media, particularly in Africa, AI offers lifelines to underfunded newsrooms but could also drown public discourse in synthetic falsehoods. In Botswana, journalism faces its own quiet battles: economic pressure, political influence, and shrinking space for fearless reporting. As AI tools grow in media, we have to ask, are we innovating or are we slipping into control? Global crackdowns, local lessons. From Pakistan to Guatemala, from Russia to Zimbabwe, governments are cracking down hard on reporters. Journalists are vanishing, laws are getting tighter, and in some cases, just asking questions is treated like a crime. Even in the United States, press freedom is backsliding, especially under Trump's second term, where media bans and fact-checking cuts have triggered major concerns. Vice President of the Association Foreign Press Correspondents in the U.S., Bob Rowley, held a panel discussion for the 2025 World Press Freedom Day, featuring an urgent and wide-ranging conversation on the state of global press freedom. Panelists include Catherine Jacobson of the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, Clayton Weimers of Reporters Without Borders, RSF, and Seth Stern of the Freedom of the Press Foundation, FPF.
As the Trump administration finishes its first 100 days in power, rarely has press freedom in my country, the U.S., and globally, been more in peril. This is not new. What's new is that it's getting far worse by the day. In the first Trump administration, the president accused the mainstream media of being the enemy of the people and called out many criticisms as fake news, quote unquote. In Trump 2.0, the administration is suing media companies directly, deporting people seemingly without due process, and even jailing international students, apparently, for raising their voice in a free country. Lawyers for one of them, Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish PhD student at Tufts University, say she was snatched off the street, had her visa revoked, and she was jailed, apparently, for co-writing an op-ed in the student newspaper.
Yeah, well, first of all, Bob, thank you so much for having us here today and for having this discussion. I think it's really important for us to acknowledge that press freedom issues do exist in the United States. I want to back up a little bit before getting into the travel advisory and just say that CPJ's US program has really developed a great deal over the past about 7 years, I would say, since I've been at the organization. Prior to that, there was a sense that things were fine here in this country and in the US, and that there weren't really press freedom issues. The United States has long been a standard bearer of promoting freedom of the press, both domestically and overseas, and has been a strategic partner in that respect for organizations like CPJ. So it was really unusual when we, kind of even made the decision to have a U.S. program and to really hone in on this work. And I can say from my experience here that calling around, editors across the United States, when I first started offering CPJ safety training and that sort of thing, people, when they would answer the phone, would say, "Oh, we don't have those issues here. Thank you so much for all of your great international work." And that could not be more different from the current situation that we are in. From the time of the elections on November 8th to present, I believe we've trained over 500 journalists in different safety training modules, and that's in a very concentrated period of time, right? There's been a massive uptick in need to both address physical safety issues that journalists feel that they might be facing in the second Trump administration, as well as digital safety threats that ranges from online harassment to what you were mentioning about crossing the border and concerns about whether or not electronic devices and electronic communications could be accessed for journalists while they're crossing the border.
And in Africa? In Mozambique, journalists are facing tear gas and threats. In Madagascar, legal codes are forcing silence. Even here in Botswana, subtle pressure is real, and silence is never the answer. Should governments regulate AI in the newsroom, or is that just another excuse to control the media? And are African countries doing enough to protect journalists and press freedom? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you believe in the power of journalism and free speech, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share it, and let's keep the conversation alive, because silence is not an option. World Press Freedom Day 2025 isn't just about headlines, it's about survival. Survival of facts, of trust, of democracy. As Botswana and the world navigate the digital era, we must protect the truth tellers, or risk losing the truth itself. Stay bold, keep questioning, and stay informed, and we'll see you in the next SnapFlash.